really cool video on the centers that we want to play for you guys. So check this out. CJ will be right out.
Imagine a place where self-care is redefined, where your journey begins with a simple touch.
Welcome back, Dr. Eric.
Embark on a personalized path as unique as you are, a holistic self-care experience. From the moment you arrive, you're greeted, guided, and welcomed with excitement and hope. An atmosphere that educates, motivates, and inspires, where every sense is engaged, sights, sounds, and scents that uplift. Experience precision testing with state-of-the-art technology, utilizing the latest advancements in precision therapeutics. Discover solutions that balance your body's physical, chemical, and neuro-emotional well-being. Regenerative therapies like stem cell and peptide treatments, creating lasting change from the inside out. Relax into a biobed, where innovation meets rejuvenation, as you experience PEMF, sound healing, light therapies, and more. Feel the relief with natural pain management that works in harmony with your body. Receive physiological alignment through chiropractic and manual therapies. Leverage cutting-edge brain health protocols for memory, clarity, and expansion. AI and machine learning enhance your care, optimizing outcomes and reducing costs. Commit to lifelong wellness, integrating self-care into every aspect of a long and healthy life. Born from the marriage of traditional healing and scientific advancement. Imagine BIOLIMITLESS Centers of Excellence. Self-care starts here.
Centers of Excellence. Hey, we're going to open up 2,000 of them, okay? I got that. But what we probably didn't hear, and that's what I want to just take a few minutes, you're going to be able to figure out and connect the dots here pretty quickly. I want you to see what the revenues could and should look like. How many of you here, and I'm going to talk to the ladies because the guys can do this, but for the ladies, have you ever gone to, let's say, a hairstylist, somebody that you've really loved, like you really enjoyed how they did your hair or how they did, the coloring or whatever it was, and you've referred somebody to them, and that person that you referred came in to see your stylist? How does that make you feel? Fantastic. And at the same time, how many of you know that your friend is spending their money in that stylist's office? So one of the things I really want you to get, and Eric says this all the time, is that BIOLIMITLESS Centers of Excellence are designed to serve the classes and the masses. So what that means is there'll be people that will come into our centers that may only invest a few $100s, and that's all they can do right now. But I need you to also know we're going to have a Mayo Clinic-like care plan with the top services that are available on planet Earth right now that will be close to a $50,000 care plan that people are going to line up to get. For those that don't, money is not their issue. There was an article, this was several years ago, and I just want to point this out. It was Forbes magazine, and Forbes magazine had this on the back of their monthly magazine, and it was a survey of self-made millionaires. That was what they needed to have in common. And the second thing was these were all men and women over the age of 65. So they're millionaires, multimillionaires, self-made, and over 65. And they asked them 20 different questions, and the answers were so spread out. But there was one question that virtually every one of them answered the same. And the question was this: if you knew earlier in your life that by age 65 that you'd have all this money, what would you have done differently? Is there anything you would have done differently? And virtually every single one of them said, I would have taken a whole lot better care of my magazine. And it was a survey of self-made millionaires. That was what they needed to have in common. And the second thing was these were all men and women over the age of 65. So they're millionaires, multimillionaires, self-made, and over 65. And they asked them 20 different questions, and the answers were so spread out. But there was one question that virtually every one of them answered the same. And the question was this: if you knew earlier in your life that by age 65 that you'd have all this money, what would you have done differently? Is there anything you would have done differently? And virtually every single one of them said, I would have taken a whole lot better care of my health. Say yes if you know what I'm saying, right? Because these are people now that are on an oxygen machine, they're on a cane, they're like, I have more money than I can count, and who cares? Because look at where I'm at. So I'm telling you that the kind of impact that we're going to make is not just in people's health, but you've been hearing about wealth this afternoon. Understand that these centers are designed in a way to create $9 million of gross revenue annually. I just want you to kind of breathe these numbers in for a moment, so when you start to hear us putting 20 centers and 100 centers and 200 centers, and then it will go from there. I want you to remember that number. Another number I think that's important is that it's going to cost about $1.5 million annually to run them, right? So if you do some just quick numbers, what you're realizing is there's about $7.5 million of gross margin. Say yes if you get what I'm saying here so far. So do you remember what Jeremy was saying about 50% of that is going back to the crowd fund, to the equity partners, to you? Just get a feel for that, right? And so then what happens from there is we're going to continue to grow that until we have done enough to pay back not only the $5 million that was invested, but to open up that second practice. Some of these numbers may actually help you. Recruiting, hiring, developing world-class teams. We are partnering with the top recruiting companies on earth so that we have the nurse practitioners, we have the physicians, we have the assistants, we have everyone that's going to make those numbers that I just talked about. We are only going to have the best talent in these practices. I also want you to know that I've traveled almost 4 million miles spreading our message around the world. And what's interesting is how sought after American doctors are outside the United States, mainly because of the kind of training that's available inside the United States. So one of the things that we're very focused on is being able to find those doctors that meet our requirements, which are gold standard, and they also have a desire, for example, to practice in Europe, to practice in Tokyo, to practice in Singapore, or wherever else we're going to open our centers. So this is going to be a massive undertaking. And how many